Hey there, welcome to my mod showcase on Correlated Potentialistics. So, what does Correlated Potentialistics want to do? Well, it wants to be a good alternative to Applied Energistics 2 ME system, as it wants to be a quick and easy way to store your items compared to the ME system that is found in AE2. If you would like to download the mod yourself or find more information, in the description there is a link to the CurseForge page along with the wiki. So there are two items that you need to craft or get before you can start making your machines. The first one is the Enderic Processor, which can only be found in dungeon loot chests, which include the Stronghold, the Nether Fortress, and anything that adds dungeon loot chests, which includes the Roguelike Dungeons mod. So, once you get an Enderic Processor, you can double them. How, you may ask? Take them into a crafting grid with the Enderic Processor in the middle, put a Ender Pearl on the top, a diamond on the bottom, gold on the left or right, and fill in the rest of the squares left open, which are the corners with quartz. This will give you 2 Enderic processors. You can repeat this until you have enough Enderic processors for all of your machines. The next is the Luminous Pearl, which is arguably an easier crafting recipe. All you need is an Ender Pearl and some glowstone. Put those together in a crafting bench. It might be shapeless, I am not exactly sure, but just in case, Ender Pearl with a glowstone next to it, and you will get a Luminous Pearl. This is the controller, this is the base of the system, and this will power everything else. So, how do you craft it? You need 4 luminous pearls with iron in the 4 corners and a Enderic processor in the middle. This will give you a nice controller. This controller has 4 states to it. First of all, it has the off state. Then, when it is booting up, it will turn a light gray with blue running throughout. When it is connected to a system that already has a controller, it will turn red as for error. And when it is not connected to a system that has another controller or anything to cause an error to it, it will turn blue and have a swirl in the middle. This is pretty self-explanatory, and there is no GUI for the system since it is just the brain of the computer. Next up is the terminal. This is how you access everything. It is made with an Enderic processor on the bottom, 3 luminous pearls in the middle, and the rest of the slots filled with iron ingots. So what does the terminal do? This one is not connected to a controller, so we cannot use it. Luckily, I set up a small computer over here, which is running perfectly fine with 2 more drive bays. Drive bays will come in a little bit, and this is the terminal. This is how you have your own items. So if we're just going to have a small example, I have a 1 GB drive here. We will get to the drives in a minute. We will put it into the machine. We will add an item, and we will probably just grab a little bit of iron just so I can show you its features. So if we just chuck the iron in, it will go into 1 slot, and it'll have 384 in that single slot. Now you can have sorting modes. It is name, quantity, originating mod, and that's about it. You can have it in ascending or descending order, which if you have it in ascending and have it as a name, this will go first because it is obviously in alphabetical order. You can put them into the crafting grid and then clear the crafting grid very easily. If you are making the wrong recipe and you realize it, you can bring 1 single item into your inventory. You can bring multiple into your inventory just by clicking the amount to craft. You can bring a stack, and you can bring the maximum amount, which would be everything that it can make, into your inventory, along with, oh, that was a gun, okay, along with, just for an example, some iron bars, but we don't want it into our inventory, we want it directly back into the terminal. So if you click the crafting target, this will bring it into the inventory, click it, and it'll bring it into the network. So if we shift click it, it'll go directly into the network. That is pretty simple, and all there is for the terminal at this moment. The next up is the drive bay, which again will not function without a controller. It is made with an Enderic processor and an iron on the top or bottom, no items in the left or right slots. So, how does the drive bay work? Well, you need it next to a controller and a terminal, and how you put drives in. Well, you actually can't just click on anywhere on the block. You can't just throw them in like that. You have to specifically click in these specific slots for the drive to actually go in if you want it to go in. This is how it works, and you cannot click anywhere else or it'll open up the drive in your inventory. Next up is the interface, which again, it needs a controller. Everything besides the controller, obviously, needs a controller to function because it is the computer. You do not need an interface to make a full computer, it is there as an optional item. So, how do you make an interface? You need a star of gold with a luminous pearl in the middle and an iron filling the rest of the slots. So, what exactly can you do with an interface? Well, if we take this interface and come over here, we can plop it down, take this, and grab a trusty wrench and then change the sides by clicking on it with the right click to pull, and if we just get rid of this, and push. So if we just go back and grab a furnace to the push side, and then replace the controller, the system will boot up and it'll read the drive. While this is doing this, we have our system. So if we grab a piece of coal, we can specify how much we want it to grab. So if we just have our coal, this is the pull side, and this is the push side. So if we want it to push one, it will push it into the furnace. We can tell it specifically how much we want it to push if we just put it here. So if we just grab it here and here, you will only have 64 go into it at once. So since the computer is booted and it grabs the coal, so if we just take it out of here, the computer should automatically refill it with 64 coal. That is the interface. It is used for pretty simple auto smelting machines if you would like to use it, but it is just a block to make your life a little bit easier to push or pull items from the machine. Alright, and now for the drive. So you need two things, mainly for the drives, so they actually work. So you need a ceramic drive platter, which is made out of a star of bricks with iron in the middle, and you need a metallic drive platter, which is an iron block in the middle, a star of the ceramic drive platters, and then iron in the corners. So now it's time for the drives and how to craft them. I'm going to go over how to use one of them, but for the storage capabilities, you can look that up yourself on the Correlated Potentialistics wiki, which has a link in the description. Just note that the 1GB drive is obviously a lot smaller than the 64GB drives in terms of storage capabilities. So let's go over the crafting recipes really quickly. So, iron in a pant shape with a luminous pearl in the middle and the ceramic drive platter will get you the 1GB drive. Alright, and for the 4GB drive, you need iron on the top, a V in the ceramic drive platters, a luminous pearl, and then 2 iron ingots in the corners, and you will get the 4GB drive. For the 16GB drive, you need 3 iron on the top again, 2 diamonds on the sides, a luminous pearl in the middle, an iron, a metallic drive platter, and another iron. That gets you the 16GB drive. And for the 64GB drive, you need a diamond going diagonally, a star of metallic drive platters, and 2 luminous pearls in the middle. That will get you the 64GB drive. Alright, and the final drive is the void drive. The void drive is made with a luminous pearl surrounded by obsidian, and you will get the void drive. So, this void drive is actually sort of special. It's not like the other drives. It can be used differently. What this void drive pretty much is a trash can for your system. So if you don't want a certain type of block, you can grab a little bit of grass, come into here, and place it in your system, or place it into the drive. When you place it into the system and take a grass block, when you put it in, it will stay there, right? But you're wondering, hey, you just said it's a trash can, why isn't it working? Because it is not partitioned. The partition will tell the system to take a certain drive into effect faster. So if we set the priority of the drive to the highest, it will read that this drive should go first before this drive, even if this drive is in the first slot. So now if we put the grass block in, it is gone. So where did it actually go? Because the void drive is partitioned to be actually here, the computer took this into consideration first and put the item into here. Any item that actually goes into here, because I said it is a trash bin and not a storage drive, is deleted instantly. So it is pretty much a whitelist for blocks. We can take these 2 blocks, here and here, put them into here, and because it is partitioned and set in the first block, now these 2, even if they're put into the system with a shift click, they will be instantly deleted. So the void drive is pretty much a very simple and easy trash can for your system. So that is my small overview / showcase of the Correlated Potentialistics mod. I don't know if I'll do any more of these in the future, but if I do, please leave some feedback on how I can make these better for the future. But I hope you enjoyed, I hope I was a bit informational, and that's about it. So I will see you in the next video. Remember, stay fancy, and peace out. Bye-bye.